The emergency beacon pierced through space like a desperate cry. Captain Marcus Reed adjusted his ship's course toward the distress signal, his weathered hand steady on the controls. 20 years of exploring the outer rim had taught him that most emergency calls led to trouble. But he had never been one to ignore someone in need. The abandoned research station floated dead in space, its hull scarred by weapon fire. Marcus docked carefully, checking his sidearm before entering the airlock. The corridors were dark except for the flashing red emergency lights that cast eerie shadows on the walls. He followed the sounds of plasma fire deeper into the station. Through a shattered viewport, he saw pirate ships circling like vultures. Inside the station, raiders moved room by room, searching for survivors and salvage. Marcus turned a corner and froze. In a small storage room, an alien female crouched over a small figure. Her blue-tinted skin seemed to glow faintly in the dim light, and her silver hair fell like a curtain around them both. She clutched what appeared to be a child to her chest, her large violet eyes wide with terror. 3 raiders approached the doorway, their weapons raised. Marcus could see they meant to kill both mother and child without hesitation. Something deep in his chest burned hot with anger. "Hey," Marcus called out, stepping into view with his weapon drawn. The raiders spun around, surprised by the interruption. The firefight was brief, but intense. Marcus used his knowledge of the station layout to his advantage, drawing the pirates away from the storage room. When the smoke cleared, its raiders lay unconscious, and the third had fled. Marcus rushed back to find the alien mother still protecting her child. She looked up at him with those incredible violet eyes, tears streaming down her face. "Please," she whispered in accented but clear English. "My son is hurt. Help him." The child in her arms was barely breathing, a nasty burn across his small chest. Without hesitation, Marcus scooped them both up and carried them toward his ship. More pirates would come soon. "My name is Marcus," he said as they hurried through the corridors. "What's yours?" "Zara," she replied, never taking her eyes off her injured child. "This is Kix. He is all I have left." They reached Marcus's ship just as more pirate vessels appeared on the horizon. As his ship pulled away from the station, Zara finally allowed herself to collapse into the passenger seat, exhaustion overtaking her. "Why did you help us?" she asked quietly, still cradling Kix. "You do not know us." Marcus looked back at her through the cockpit mirror. Her beauty was striking, but it was the fierce love in her eyes for her child that truly moved him. "Because it was right," he said simply, "and because no parent should have to face that alone," as they jumped to hyperspace. Leaving the pirates behind, Marcus felt something shift inside his heart. This rescue mission was about to become something much more complicated and wonderful than he had ever imagined. Sanctuary found DR. Nora Vance worked with practiced efficiency in the medical bay, her scanner revealing the extent of little Kix's injuries. The burn was serious, but treatable with the right care. Zara hovered nearby, reluctant to leave her son's side, even for a moment. "The regeneration chamber will help," Nora explained gently, adjusting the settings. "But he needs rest, and so do you." Zara shook her head firmly. "I cannot leave him. You do not understand what we have been through." Marcus entered the medical bay carrying a tray of food. He had changed from his combat gear into simple clothes, and Zara noticed how different he looked. Less like a warrior, more like a man who cared deeply about others. "The doctor's right," Marcus said softly. "You need to eat something. I'll stay with Kix while you rest." For the first time since the rescue, Zara allowed herself to study this human who had risked his life for strangers. His brown eyes were kind but held the weight of someone who had seen too much. His dark hair was streaked with early gray. His hands were gentle as he checked the medical readings. "On my world," Zara said quietly, "we were taught that humans were violent, selfish creatures. My government said you could not be trusted." Marcus smiled sadly. "Some of us are exactly that. But some of us try to be better." As the hours passed, Kix's condition improved. The regeneration chamber worked its healing magic, while Zara finally allowed herself to eat and rest. She found herself watching Marcus as he moved around the ship, noting how he spoke kindly to Dr. Vance, how he checked on them both without being asked. That evening, as Kix slept peacefully, Zara found Marcus on the observation deck staring out at the stars. The sight of the galaxy stretching endlessly before them made her feel small and lost. "Where will you take us?" she asked, joining him at the viewport. "Wherever you want to go," Marcus replied. "Do you have family somewhere? Friends?" Zara's expression darkened. "No, our colony was destroyed. Kix and I were traveling to find a new home when the pirates attacked our transport. Everyone else trailed off, unable to finish." Marcus turned to face her fully. In the soft starlight, her alien features seemed even more beautiful and exotic. Her skin had a subtle, iridescent quality that fascinated him. "Then you'll stay with us until you find where you belong," he said firmly. "Why?" Zara asked, stepping closer. "Why show such kindness to aliens you barely know?" Marcus found himself looking into those remarkable violet eyes, feeling something stirred that he had not experienced in years. Maybe because you don't feel like strangers anymore. Their faces were inches apart now. Zara's breath caught as she realized how drawn she was to this human who had saved her world. She reached up and touched his cheek gently with her fingertips. "Your skin is so warm," she whispered. Before either could think too much about it, Marcus leaned down and kissed her softly. It was gentle and careful, a question more than a statement. When Zara kissed him back, her lips soft and yielding against his, something beautiful and dangerous began between them. They pulled apart slowly, both breathing hard. "This is complicated," Zara whispered. "The best things usually are," Marcus replied, pulling her closer as they watched the stars together. The proximity alarms shrieked through the ship, jolting everyone awake. Marcus raced to the bridge while Zara gathered Kix from his medical bed. Dr. Vance quickly secured the medical bay for emergency. Maneuvers 4 ships closing fast. Marcus called out as Zara joined him on the bridge, Kix clinging to her side. It's the same pirates from the station, through the view screen. They could see the sleek Predator ships gaining on them. The lead vessel was larger than the others, its hull painted with the crimson markings of the Void Reapers. A transmission crackled through the communications array. A scarred face appeared on screen, cybernetic implants glowing red around one eye. "Commander Vex, the most feared pirate in this sector." Human Vex growled, his voice like grinding metal. "You have something that belongs to me. Return the female and her spawn, and I might let you live." Marcus's jaw tightened. "They're not your property. Find someone else to terrorize." Vex laughed coldly. "The female is worth a fortune to certain buyers. The child even more so. Last chance, human. Surrender them or burn." Marcus cut the transmission and pushed his ship's engines to maximum. "Hold on to something. This is going to get rough." The chase began in earnest. Marcus's ship was fast, but outnumbered. Plasma bolts streaked past the hull as he weaved between asteroids, using every trick he knew to stay ahead of their pursuers. "Can we jump to hyperspace?" Zara asked, bracing herself as the ship shook from a near miss. "Not with them jamming our nav computer," Marcus replied, sweat beading on his forehead as he piloted through the dangerous asteroid field. Suddenly, Zara was beside him at the co-pilot station, her fingers flying over the alien interface she had somehow accessed. "I can recalibrate the navigation matrix," she said. "My people's technology might be compatible, Zara. It's too dangerous." "If you're wrong, trust me," she said, her violet eyes meeting his with fierce determination as plasma fire erupted around them. Marcus realized he did trust her completely. While he piloted through the asteroid maze, Zara worked frantically at the computer systems. Her silver hair fell across her face as she concentrated, and Marcus felt his heart race with more than just adrenaline. Behind them, Commander Vex's ship smashed through asteroids that would have destroyed smaller vessels. The pirate was relentless in his pursuit. "Almost got it," Zara breathed, her hands moving with elegant precision over the controls. A massive explosion rocked their ship as plasma fire found its mark. Emergency systems activated, filling the bridge with red warning lights. In the chaos, Marcus reached over and grabbed Zara's hand. "Whatever happens," he said, looking into her eyes, "I want you to know that meeting you has been the best thing that's happened to me in years." Zara squeezed his hand tightly. "And you have given me hope when I thought there was none left." Got it, she suddenly exclaimed. Hyperspace in 3:2. The stars stretched into lines as they jumped to safety. Behind them, Commander Vex's furious roar echoed across the void. But they were gone. In the sudden quiet of hyperspace, Marcus and Zara sat breathing hard, still holding hands. Little Kix had watched everything with wide eyes, finally understanding that this human had truly chosen to protect them at great risk to himself. "Thank you," Zara whispered, bringing Marcus's hand to her lips and kissing it gently. "We make a good team," Marcus replied, his thumb tracing across her knuckles. But they all knew this was far from over. Commander Vex would not give up so easily, and somewhere in the galaxy, he was already planning his next move. Hidden Refuge, the jungle planet of Verdania, appeared on their view screen like an emerald jewel floating in space. Marcus had heard whispers of this place in spacer cantinas, a world where those seeking refuge from the galaxy's troubles could disappear. There, Zara pointed to coordinates she had been calculating. Elder Finn's sanctuary should be in that valley. They landed in a clearing, surrounded by towering trees whose leaves shimmered with bioluminescent patterns. The air was thick and humid, filled with the sounds of exotic creatures calling through the canopy. Elder Finn emerged from the jungle like something from an ancient legend. His long white beard was woven with vines, and his eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen civilizations rise and fall. Though human, he had chosen this isolated world decades ago to help those in need. "Another lost soul seeking peace," Finn said, his voice warm as he approached their ship. When he saw Zara and Kix, his expression softened further. In a family in need of healing, the sanctuary was built into the living trees themselves. Structures that grew rather than were constructed. Finn provided them with a dwelling high in the canopy, connected to other homes by bridges woven from living vines. That first night, as alien moonlight filtered through the leaves, Marcus and Zara sat on their balcony while Kix slept peacefully inside. For the first time since the rescue, they felt truly safe. "It's beautiful here," Zara said, watching luminescent insects dance through the trees like tiny stars. "You're beautiful," Marcus replied, then immediately looked embarrassed by his boldness. Zara turned to him with a soft smile. "Marcus Reed, are you trying to court an alien woman?" "Maybe I am," he admitted, reaching for her hand. "Is that completely insane?" Instead of answering with words, Zara moved closer to him on the wooden bench. The jungle sounds created a natural symphony around them as she traced the line of his jaw with her fingertips. "On my world," she whispered. "We believe that souls recognize each other across any distance, through any difference. When I first saw you in that storage room, something in my heart said finally." Marcus cupped her face in his hands, marveling at how perfectly she fit against him. When he kissed her this time, it was with all the passion he had been holding back. Zara responded with equal intensity, her alien grace and human desire creating something entirely new. They moved inside, away from the curious night creatures. In the soft bioluminescent glow of the living walls, they discovered each other slowly, carefully. Marcus traced the subtle patterns in Zara's skin that seemed to pulse with her heartbeat. Zara explored the scars on Marcus's body, each one a story of survival and courage. When they finally came together, it was with a tenderness that transcended species. Two souls finding completeness in each other. Afterward, they lay entwined, Zara's head on Marcus's chest as he stroked her silver hair. "What happens when this is over?" Zara asked quietly. "When we're safe and the pirates are gone?" Marcus kissed the top of her head. "Then we figure out how to build a life together. You, me, and Kix. A human, an alien, and her child," Zara mused. "That's quite an unusual family. The best families usually are," Marcus replied. Pulling her closer as the jungle sang them to sleep, outside their window, Elder Finn smiled to himself as he tended his midnight garden. Another broken family was healing in his sanctuary, and love was blooming under the alien stars. The attack came at dawn. Commander Vex had found them despite Elder Finn's careful security measures. Pirate ships descended through the morning mist like deadly insects, their weapons already charging. Everyone to the emergency shelters. Finn called out as alarms echoed through the Tree City. Marcus grabbed his weapons while Zara gathered Kix and Dr. Vance. The sanctuary's few defenders took positions among the branches, but they were vastly outnumbered. There are too many of them, Nora said grimly. Checking her medical supplies for what she knew would be casualties, then we make them pay for every inch, Marcus replied. But his heart sank as he counted the enemy ships. Vex's voice boomed through external speakers. Human, I know you're down there. Send up the female and her offspring. I'll spare this pathetic colony. Marcus was about to respond defiantly when Zara placed her hand on his arm. Her violet eyes held a determined light that made him afraid of what she might do. No, Zara, we're not giving up. I have an idea, she said quietly, but you must trust me completely. Before Marcus could protest, Zara activated the communication array. Commander Vex, this is Zara of the Ethereal Moons. I will come with you willingly if you spare these people. Zara, no. Marcus grabbed her arm, but she shook her head. You don't understand what I am, she said softly. What Kix is? We are not just refugees, Marcus. We are the last of the ethereal bloodline. Our people could manipulate energy itself. As if to demonstrate, Zara's skin began to glow with soft blue light. The bioluminescent patterns on her arms and face brightened until she looked like a living constellation. The pirates destroyed our world because they feared our power, she continued, but they never learned how to control it. Vex thinks he can sell us, but he has no idea what he's really dealing with. Marcus stared at her in wonder. What are you planning? Zara's smile was both beautiful and terrifying. I'm going to show him why my people were called the Star-Touched. She walked to the landing platform with her hands raised in surrender. Marcus followed despite her protests, unable to let her face the pirates alone. Kix clung to Elder Finn, his own small hands beginning to glow like his mother's. Commander Vex descended in his personal transport, flanked by armed guards. His scarred face twisted in triumph as he saw Zara approaching. Finally, some sense, he growled. You'll fetch a fine price from the collectors. I don't think so, Zara said calmly. She raised her hands. And suddenly, every electronic system on Vex's ships began to malfunction. The energy patterns in her skin flared brighter as she channeled power that had been sleeping in her bloodline for generations. The pirates' weapons shut down. Their ships' engines died. Communication systems failed across the entire fleet. Impossible, Vex snarled. Reaching for a backup weapon, Marcus shot it from his hands before he could fire. I don't think you understand, Marcus said with satisfaction. You're not dealing with helpless refugees anymore. From the platform above, Little Kix added his own power to his mother's. The combined energy of two ethereal descendants, creating a light show that could be seen from orbit, one by one. Vex's ships began falling from the sky as their power systems completely failed. The pirate commander himself was trapped on the platform, his cybernetic implants sparking and shorting out from the energy field Zara had created around them. You want to know why the ethereal people were destroyed? Zara asked, her voice carrying new authority. Because we chose peace over power. But when those we love are threatened, ... She let the energy flare one more time. Vex's remaining weapons crumbled to dust. The pirate fleet was finished. Some ships crashed in the jungle. Others managed emergency landings before their systems failed completely. Commander Vex himself knelt on the platform, his technology useless against abilities he had never imagined. As the immediate danger passed, Zara's glow faded back to its normal subtle luminescence. Marcus caught her as she swayed from exhaustion. Her incredible display having drained her strength. Show off, he whispered with a grin. Kissing her forehead, I learned from the best, she replied. Leaning into his embrace, Elder Finn approached with Kix in his arms. The boy's eyes were bright with excitement and pride in his mother's power. I think Finn said with a knowing smile, that this family has found exactly where they belong. Marcus looked around at the sanctuary that had become their home. At Dr. Vance, who was already organizing the cleanup, at Elder Finn, who had given them refuge, and finally, at Zara and Kix, who had become his whole world. Yeah, he agreed. Holding them both close, as the sun rose fully over their new life. I think we have. In the distance, the disabled pirate ships served as a reminder that love, when defended by courage and powered by determination, could overcome any darkness the galaxy might throw at them. Their hearts had found their home among the stars.